Hey there, it's your boy Foxy, back for more relationship stories. It's always said that people shouldn't jump into marriage too soon, and should have a long engagement till you really get to know someone, and watch out for red flags that could be a deal breaker for you in a relationship. Well, that's what the OP of this first story did. He found out something his fiancée did that he couldn't stomach, and tried to break it off amicably, and he got blindsided when she opted to do something so nasty that could ruin his life to get back at him for dumping her. Let's read the story. Original post. She, Rose, 30 female, has been at her company for the past 6 years, and she works an office job in a non-customer facing company. We have also been together for the past 5 years and put off our wedding until after graduating and after COVID. Recently, she was chosen to be promoted to a position in a different department after someone was leaving the company, and we knew about the promotion for some time. The woman who was leaving wasn't leaving until a certain date, but she was excited about the raise and getting promoted to a manager after years of wanting to be. However, as she neared closer to the date of the promotion, she began to ghost her job and ignore various warnings and calls about absences because of her anxiety surrounding it. Anxiety she never chose to voice until after she had been fired for ghosting them for weeks. She would go to work in the morning and return at the time that her normal shift would end. But after she got fired, she wanted to talk to me. And she told me that she lied about going to work for the past 2.5 weeks. When I asked her what happened, she said that her team wanted to throw her a small party to celebrate her promotion before she would leave. But the party made her anxious because she doesn't like to be celebrated because it's embarrassing. She also said that public speaking gave her anxiety too, and after learning that, she would have to say a few words in a bigger joint meeting after receiving the new promotion. She couldn't bring herself to go to work, and found other things to do during the time she was supposed to be there. She said that she'd often stay in her car on her phone, or go to the gym or a friend's place sometimes, and over the course of those 2 weeks, she ignored calls and emails from her job on her absences, until she was fired after numerous warnings. She since said that she wants to go to therapy to work on her anxiety before looking for a new job, and she asked if I could cover the expenses in the meantime. I told her no, because first, she lied about going to work for over 2 weeks, got dressed, and only wanted to talk after getting fired. I told her that I didn't appreciate her lying, or entitlement to ask me to cover bills for a few months before she searches for a new job. And she said that I was being unfair, because she's planning to go to therapy. While I told her that therapy is good, I said I needed a break to reconsider our relationship and engagement away from her, and she was fine with staying with a friend for a few days. However, when I called 2 days later and said I was done, and wanted her to remove whatever belongings she didn't take with her, she and her friend began posting that I hit her when we talked, which is why she's breaking it off. Aside from texting mutual friends, she's also reached out to my job and had me talk to about it from my boss when I had no clue, and found out during the meeting. I'm writing this because I want to ask if anyone's been in anything similar, and how to manage this. I feel I was respectful in taking 2 days to myself before asking her to remove her things whenever worked for her, but she just keeps posting about me harming her, and making fun of her for seeking therapy. Edit. The thing that made me the most upset was when she said that she would not go back to work for a few months until therapy was done. And now that she left her company, she wanted me to pay for her to go to therapy too after she lost her benefits, something I forgot to add in my post, along with her saying that I can afford it because of my salary. Now for the top advice before reading the update. You have every right to be upset. This is borderline/dissociative behavior. I wouldn't marry her. This behavior is not a small matter. I feel like I was pretty direct with her after taking a little over a day to think and tell her that I was done, and nicely asked her to remove her things, only for her to start her social media stuff and calling my job. Serious character flaw. Lying to you and pretending are huge red flags. You should not be alone with her again given her allegations. She lost her benefits after leaving, said she wouldn't go back to work for a few months until after therapy was done, wanted me to pay for therapy because I can afford it with my salary, and went to such lengths to lie and even bringing spare clothes in her car after getting dressed every morning to pretend to go to work. Look, she's got problems, big problems, but instead of facing them she hides, blames others and tries to manipulate you into being okay with this. Oh, and now outright spreading hateful and harmful lies. Nope, you're done nothing wrong. In fact, your choices are right. Now, to block her in every way and do damage control. Grieve, but get away from her and anyone who supports her BS. P.S. Sorry you've had to go through this, but though you don't feel lucky now, you've made a very lucky escape. Literally got talked to at my job after she called them. Already blocked her on a lot of things, but the job thing surprised me. It's like she sabotaged her own life, job, and wants to take you down with her. Sorry, mate, but she's not to be allowed anywhere near your life. You might need to get something like a cease and desist letter by a lawyer sent to her, or even a restraining order, but yeah, her actions destroyed your relationship. And now for the update. We would have been married already if not for COVID making us delay plans, but after everything that happened, I believe it was for the best. A manager in a different department of her office was retiring, and she was chosen to be promoted in her place. Her promotion wouldn't start until the woman left, and it would have been the first she's ever been a manager in her life. However, as the promotion neared, she decided to ghost her job and pretend to go to work after years of wanting to become a manager, and it resulted in her being fired. She'd leave for work at her usual morning time and return in the evening as she always did, but even after she was fired, she didn't come clean until another week had passed. When I asked her what happened, she said that her team wanted to throw her a small party before her last day and that it gave her anxiety. She also said that she hated being celebrated and felt anxious about having to speak at a joint meeting after receiving the promotion. So, she pretended to go to work instead, ghosting work calls too, getting dressed in the morning for 2 weeks, before getting fired and going to a friend's or the gym with a change of clothes. When she came clean, she said that she wanted to go to therapy to work on herself, and that she wanted me to pay for it because I could afford it while also covering her side of rent. And that was when I said I needed a break after her lying for 3+ weeks to reconsider everything. I told her I needed a day, and she agreed to stay at a friend's. And 2 days later, I told her I was done and wanted her to collect her things, but that was when she started to slander me. What happened since? As I stated last time about her response, she took to Twitter and said that I harmed her after she admitted her anxiety to me. And she also wrote that she decided to break up with me after she opened up, and that I became aggressive and was against mental health. She also reached out to my job, which led to me getting called to the office. And since my last post, her friend has joined her in spreading lies too, the friend who she was staying with. Stacy, her friend, fake name, posted about how my ex-fiancé crashed with her because I was aggressive in the past and didn't want her to accept the promotion. She also posted that I was jealous and insecure, and threatening her to not accept it too. I've since reached out to a lawyer who has been helping me a ton, but I've lost some friends who decided to take her side. And she didn't even have the decency to get her stuff. She sent 2 of her friends while she waited in the car, completely refusing to see me at all. And while I didn't lose my current job, she called another job that she knew I was interviewing for some time, and I haven't heard back about my second interview since. I'm discussing how we can address that with my lawyer at the moment, but I wanted to ask how to move on from not only her, but also the friends who took her side and how it's crept into other areas too. It's just been really stressful seeing a new side of her through her lies, and it's really come as a shock in many ways. It's like she's done a 180 so fast, and it's really hard to focus on other things or gain sleep too. Having a lawyer is the best thing you can do right now, and he will be able to go after them for slander, and could sue them, especially her, for all the damages this is causing you. To completely get away from them, you may want to think about moving and cutting all ties, and get a new phone number. Also, lock down all social media to private. Purge any shared friends from social media to prevent them giving her information. Do not under any circumstance meet with her without witnesses of your choosing present, and preferably in public. I wish you the best, and I hope you keep us updated. What does the lawyer say? He said it was best to not engage in anything on Twitter or social media like her at the moment, because it could hurt us if I say something emotionally. He's right, say nothing. Their posts will be used as evidence against them, so don't engage. They are hanging themselves. Make sure you get copies and screenshots with timestamps too. OP, listen to your lawyer. All I want to add to that is after all the legal stuff is over, if any of your friends who sided with her come back to you and apologize, I'd recommend you consider forgiving them. After all, this sort of thing is rather rare. Mostly when women accuse their partners of this stuff, it's the truth, so good people believe them. That's why it's a particularly terrible thing to do, to lie about something like this, because it's so hard to get justice for victims as it is, and lying about it only makes it harder for people to trust. So, your friends who are supporting her are doing the right thing, even though it's in support of a lie. They're still good people, even though they've been misled. Once you've been able to prove that she's lying, it shouldn't be too hard, since she made the mistake of lying about why she left her job as well. The good ones should come back with an apology. Think about forgiveness so you don't miss out on the good people in your life. After all, this sort of thing is rather rare. It is not rare at all. There are so many messed up people who will target partners who leave them with smear campaigns out of spite, including many men. Usually, they are good at it too since they have had their whole lives to practice. Now for the last story. Big blow up with my wife. Background: my wife and I have been married 16 years. We have 2 kids, 7 and 13, and the last 8 years or so could legally be defined as sexless, with the last 4 years consisting of bedroom activities an average of 2 times per year. The lack of intimacy is not my choice. I will also note that she still co-sleeps with our youngest, and we have slept in separate bedrooms since 2009. We are both pretty attractive. I stay fit with running. She just luckily looks great for her years. Slowly over the years, her rejection has eaten away at me to the point that there is zero intimacy. Zero. I refuse to try anymore and go through feeling unwelcomed. Above the intimacy problems, I also feel unwelcomed by her as a husband and father. Many of the traits I have that attracted her to me in the beginning of our relationship, she now despises as my role as a dad. I am generally a loner. I have a small circle of friends, but I generally avoid the social hierarchy altogether and have no interest in following groups and whatnot. I guess you can say I fit the Omega role a bit, but I'm not into video games and crap. I've always had peculiar hobbies and interests, like turtles, fighter planes, and music. I am also very creative and enjoy various arts such as painting. Anyway, when we dated, she saw these traits as refreshing and different from the endless males out there who follow their pack of buddies, and so on. But now, things are so different. All of my interests and hobbies are met with negativity, cynicism, and sometimes ridicule. This has been a problem in our relationship since the beginning. I am also not the typical, fuddy-duddy boring as heck dad stereotype. I love rock music. I can still ride a skateboard. I like to drink beers on weekends and listen to trippy music or get taken away by laughter. I typically ponder beauty in nature and often have my head in the clouds. I'm probably somewhat autistic. Anyway, there is a general feeling of not being who she wants me to be. Add to this our lack of intimacy, and you can get a sense of how I feel when she is around. She finally got a part-time job a few nights a week after not having worked for 15 or so years since the kids were born. I have worked full-time non-stop. Since getting this job, my alone time with the kids has been wonderful. The house is much more peaceful when she is not in it, and my kids generally like the things we do. When she is home, it is always stressful. The blow-up. I took the kids to my parents over the weekend to celebrate my mom's birthday. We had a wonderful day with family, my sister, her family, my parents. It was summer magic, and I had no one there giving me a hard time about everything I did or did not do, or how I did or did not do it or whatever. And no one to say, "You're having another beer," and so on. The day was magic, and the evening came and we decided to watch a movie. Scrolling through, we all decided to watch Borat, and we all laughed hysterically. The movie ended, we all went to bed. The next day, upon getting home, my wife learned we had watched Borat, and totally freaking flipped out. She screamed at me and told me she was disgusted in me as dad. The next day, this continued with nasty texts saying she was disappointed in me as a dad. I owned up, yes, maybe I should have thought more about what movie, but everyone had a great time with family, all of us. The next day, it still continued, and she decided to take the kids to her mother's unannounced, probably to blow steam and badmouth me the entire time. That night as I was home alone, my parents alerted me that she also sent them a text displaying her dismay of the movie. They refused to share the text with me, which means it was probably nasty. My parents are wonderful, responsible grandparents. I promised them I would not escalate about her texting them. Today, I worked from home and my wife and kids returned from her mother's. I was immediately met with more disgust, texts from her, and more. This is day 3. Around dinner time, she had to poke again and mention it again. I completely lost it and ripped into her with a barrage of scornful content, including profanity, which I am not proud of, but it was time she had it. She was in complete and utter shock at my rebuttal, but I am so freaking done of feeling like a worthless piece of trash to her. She loves me, freaking BS. I told her I can't stand her, and that she is the one who insisted on this ridiculous level of disdain for 3 days straight over a stupid movie. I told her I'm sick of feeling like crap, and I will find someone else who actually values me. She almost tripped and fell as she left for work. And once again, the house is peaceful, just the kids and myself. It is wonderful. Now for the top advice. What I read was less about the movie and more about you two and some incompatible behavior. She blows up minor issues. She holds grudges. You feel as if she treats you horribly. You bottle things up. You don't let her know when you are upset with how she treats you. You both do not communicate with each other. Your thoughts, your feelings, co-parenting discussions, intimate life discussion, it's non-existent. So, the big questions to ask yourself. Are you happy in your relationship? Do you want to continue the cycle, as your children will build their future relationships on what was modeled to them as children by their parents? Like, if you settle for this behavior and stay stagnant, Your children are likely to have similar relationships when they are older. What is keeping you in this relationship? Why are you afraid to leave this relationship? You told her you want someone who would support you and treat you better. Why not? Divorce, counseling, keeping your status quo is all on you. But you only have one life to live. Is this really how you want to live it? Waiting on those few moments away from your wife. Was going to reply to OP, but to be honest, I doubt if I could cover what I wanted to cover as eloquently nor as accurately as this. Why is everyone talking about you two need to communicate? Doesn't she know she's acting like a pain in the butt and stressing out OP? Some relationship problems aren't brought about by a lack of communication. One of the two partners can simply be an asshole. And this looks like one of the cases. It sounds like you're done with this marriage. Your wife doesn't respect you and is putting no effort into your marriage. Just go ahead and file for divorce. Don't talk to her anymore. Every time you go out, don't explain yourself anymore. Stay out later. Take your kids with you. Marriage is about going through problems together, but the moment they become the problem, it's over. Maybe, but perhaps OP can explain why they let it fester for so long. I'd first try a relationship therapist and see if it can be solved. I know this forum likes to scream divorce, but in case of kids, I'd think twice about that. And I'm speaking from experience. Divorce happening is easily the worst thing in my entire life. Not because I loved my ex so much, but because my kid suffers greatly.